Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're tuning in. I thought we would work a little bit more on our bag journal that we're kind of doing together here. So I'm going to go through a little bit more of the next step in the process, which is our signatures are too big. We haven't sewn them in yet, but I am thinking that some of them we want to decorate before we stitch them in. It might be a little bit easier. For instance, sewing, because I think I want to try and decorate some of the pages, put some sewing on it and things like that. So we're really going to go all out with embellishments. I know in the previous video where I showed what we were doing with the signatures, I said I was only going to do like 13 or something like that. I upped it to 15 after putting it in, so I added a couple pages to each signature. So here's the front cover then, and so you can see our signatures are sticking out here. So I have already prepped a bunch of them, but I have one signature I'm going to do with you guys to kind of show you how we are doing this to make sure that they fit. So first of all, if you look, we know about how big everything is going to be. I'm just going to tap this in a little bit so you can see. Here's the edge. I should make sure I'm on camera well enough and that this is making sense. So here's the edge of our cover. I have measured it, but I want to make sure I'm inside the cover for the most part. I don't mind if we have a little bit sticking out here and there. In fact, I really like that look. So here's what we got. And from here to here, if my memory serves me correct, is either 16 and a half or 16, goodness, 6.5 inches. So just quick, I'm going to measure that with this ruler. Okay, so this ruler is not the most accurate for that. I'm not sure why I had that one out here. Okay, so it's almost 7, but if we go inside, it's going to be a little bit smaller. So 6 3/4. So if our signatures pages are 6.5, we just don't want to go past that. So we have our max, and we're going to definitely have some minimums. So I'm going to take this signature and set this aside for the moment. So this is what we're doing here. We have 6 inches. Now I know this one is fine. So that's 6.5. So this is kind of going to be our guideline where we could go a little bit past this, but not much. And then the same with the height of the book, because it's pretty much square. So we can go a little bit higher. So I'm not going to worry too much about the height on these pages because I think all of these pages are fine. So this is going to be our guideline, what we're going to use to make sure nothing goes past here. So beginning of the signature, that one's fine. That one is fine. This one I think is going to be fine too. I did trim them down in the other ones because I thought they would be the wrong size, but I guess I was wrong. Okay, that one's fine. This one is fine. I guess this one is, I should have looked at the signatures better. Okay, so this one is definitely too big. We know this for a fact because it's sticking out way over here. So I'm going to look at it and see, is it really pretty? Is there a fun design? Because we could make a fold in to make it a tuck spot, or we could tear it off. And there's not much for like little fold ins or anything like that on this one. So we're going to fold it in and turn it into a tuck spot. So I'm using this as my guideline to measure to make that fold. It's pretty simple if you do it this way, and you could just tear them off. You could use a paper cutter and just cut them all off at the same length if you wanted to. It's kind of, it's your journal. It's what you want to do with it. This one's fine. Okay, so this one we have to do some extra work with in general because I don't know if you can see it, but there is a tear line on this page. So this notebook that I pulled these pages from, I didn't know that it had that, but then I'm like, you know what? That'll be a good example of how to show what we can do with those. So I'm going to set that over there so we keep everything in order. So I just have this single signature right here, or piece of paper. It's not a signature. This piece of paper that will go into our signature right here. So, excuse me. So there is I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it shows up or not, but there is a tear line. So we want to make sure that this isn't going to tear out of our journal. So there's a couple of different things we can do. And I'm going to show you guys just an easy way to reinforce this. And so this is a technique that you can use with any kind of paper that you're putting in. So say you pulled a page out of a book and it's a little bit fragile along that fold. Well, ta-da, we have washi tape. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to take this wide washi tape and put it right down the center, just like this. And I'm not overly concerned about how straight it is. And I'm just going to tear that just to give it a little extra reinforcement. And then also it's going to add a little bit of character to the page too. Now you can also do the back side. I'm just giving it a really good fold there because of the tape. So you could do both sides if you wanted to. You could use a tape that doesn't go all the way to the edge. There's different ways to put it down if you want it to be super straight. One way that you can use as a guide is to do it on this way. I don't mind if it's a little crooked or cattywampus, although I tend to end up getting them pretty straight most of the time. So that's all I'm going to do with this one, because it's not that it's delicate. We just want it a little bit more reinforced, and this is going to be fine for what we want to do. But were we to want to do it a little bit different, here's another option. So I just want to reinforce the tear spots, so I'm going to use a different washi. So I'm just going to use this thin one right next to here on this side, and I'm just going to tear it. So that's fun. Kind of goes with our color palette and our ocean theme. Let's do a different one. I'm so excited. My my twin sister messaged me the other day and she was like, hey, I just got a whole box of craft supplies. Do you want some washi tape? And I was like, oh yeah, I could probably use some. And she's like, how much do you want? And I'm like, well, I don't know. So then we talked later and FaceTimed each other on Messenger, and she got this whole box. It was like from a pallet sale or something she got from one of her friends. And for 20 bucks, she got an entire box of like washi tapes and stickers and bling and everything. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take a couple of each thing. And she's like, no, I don't think you understand. I have like 20 of some of these things. And I'm like, I don't need that many. So that was pretty fun. Okay, so there we go. All set. Now, our length is still an issue here. So we're going to stick this back in. And I think since it's a writing page and it's blank, let's go ahead and fold them in as well. So I'm just going to tuck these. I'm going to leave them pretty long. So I'm just using it as a guide to measure. So there's that one is there. And then I'm going to fold this one the opposite direction. So when I'm folding, all I'm doing is looking at the size. So I'm going to the edge here and I'm just folding it pretty straight on itself, because then we can decorate it more later. If we decide we want to tear it off, we can do that as well. Okay, so let's put this here. Let's put the center back in. And there are lots and lots of ways to do this. There's no one correct way. So you just have to figure out what works best for you. Okay, so I like this on this one, this green part. So I guess we're doing a bunch of fold-ins in this one. So I'm going to do to this arrow, because this arrow is kind of fun here. Then we can maybe do some fun decorations on that later on. That wasn't super straight, but I'm not overly bothered. This I know is fine. This I know is fine. Obviously this one is fine. This is the center. I'll talk more about this in a minute, but not right this second. That one's fine because we're just looking at the length of our signatures right now. Then I'm going to go into the next step that I kind of went through with the process. So this one, I think we're going to Let's do we want to do a big pocket? Do we want to do a small pocket? I kind of like it to there. That's kind of fun, but I like this quilt here too. Decisions. I think we'll cut it or tear it. So another thing that you can do with these is you can just cut them with a fancy scissors or something. So I'm going to mark a line. So I'm just putting my ruler here and I'm drawing a line. And this is the easiest way that I've found to use designed scissors. I'll use this one, I think. So these are just, you know, these scissors that you can get just about any secondhand shop. You probably find some. So when you have that line, it's a good guideline. Did I grab one that doesn't work very good? Oh, it's stuck. Okay, I think it's okay. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be fine. So you have your line. So this gives you a guide to go off of. So I will then line up those teeth right on that line to make it much straighter. And it took me a while to realize that that is the easiest way to do this. So sharing that tip with you guys to make your life a little bit easier. So there we go. And then we're going to set that aside because we might use that scrap later on. Okay, so now we have a fun edge on there that's going to peek out a little bit. We already took care of this one. This one is fine. All right, here's our next piece that is too big. And this is a garden. And I think we've had enough foldies, so we're going to do a terry. Tear it, and I'm just going to lay my ruler here, push firmly, and tear. Okay? So this is all we're doing. So I have done this with the other 6 signatures. I was just going to do this here with you guys. So these are all set. So this one we know is going to be the right height. These are all the right height. I already did that when I was kind of tearing them down. But there was a couple things I wanted to show you that I did as I was going through. So bring this back over here, see if I can find the page. So you can see we've got fold outs here as well. We've got some other things. That one needs to be stitched. So here we are. So we have a bit going on. All right. Where is the thing I was going to show you? It is, give me a second to find it. There was a page that I wanted to show something. Here, oh, this one has it. Okay. Okay, so this paper, that's why I left it kind of raggedy. So you can see this one has washi tape on it. That's because this paper itself was a bit fragile and it was torn in the center. So I did the tape this way and made it all rough because I thought it would go well with what we already had going on with this splatters and splashes. So it's just the same thing that I showed you on that other, but this is like a very fragile piece of paper, just to show you that you can use those types of things even if they are a little bit more fragile. Just reinforce them a little bit. Give them some extra love. Now, next thing I did was I wanted to add some sewing to these guys because I really want to get them stitched in, but it's much easier to sew them when they're not attached to the book. So I decided I would do a teal in every single signature, some kind of stitching just on the sewing machine. You don't have to do it, but it is pretty fun to add some texture. So with this one, I put it in the center. On this, I just picked one random piece of paper out of each signature. And what I did, so this page was a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You just do a scrunchy fold in the middle to about the height that you need. And now you have a built-in interesting pocket. So it's got built-in pocket. And then on the back side, it also has a little tuck up, which is fun. So I just folded it and then we sewed it down. You can glue it too for these kind. So then I just did straight stitch, some zigzag, flipping it back and forth. That's all I did. But how fun is that to add to your journal? Just a really quick little addition of texture. I leave the strings long because I'll trim them if I want later on, but what if I decide I want them or I want to incorporate them a little bit more into what we add on? So I just leave them a little bit long. I don't care that my tension looks weird. I'm okay with that. Your tension on your sewing machine, which is the pull of your thread, can sometimes get weird when you're working with different types of paper. Always use the same needle for paper. Don't use paper and then go back to using the same needle on your fabric, because you will have problems, because paper dulls needles and blades and things like that very, very fast. That's why you want to have specific ones for sewing, as opposed sewing on fabric as opposed to sewing on paper. So here are some of the other things that I did. So this one had like a flip up, and I sewed it around here to make these pockets. So that's already been done for that one. It's pretty easy to find where the stitching is in these guys. So that's fun. So this one I just did around the outside again. And it's just a plain piece of paper. We're just adding some more texture, another element. This one was a wonky fold. So it's just a 12-inch square piece of paper that I folded awkwardly in half to make a pocket here. And then if we look on this side, there is a pocket right here too. And then I just sewed it down. It got a little wonky warbly here. I don't care. It's fine. It's going to be fine as everything gets squished together and finds its new plan and everything. So that one, this one, all I did was sew this folded edge. I just sewed it straight down. So now we have a little tuck spot there. And the back side, I just sewed like that. And this one, I did just kind of feeling the flow. I just did a fast kind of around the outside with a straight stitch. And this is avocado dyed paper, that peachy pink color. Excuse me. And let's see, this one is right here. Same thing, I just did around the outside. This is where I ran out of thread. It's fine because we're probably going to decorate it some more anyway. And then that's it. So that is where we're at. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, all 7 signatures have one piece of paper that has been sewn with, oh, hello little leaf, that teal thread that matches our bag journal. I might go ahead and do a little bit more sewing, maybe with a purple or a pink, one in each of the signatures too. I haven't quite decided, but that is something I'm going to do before we stitch these in. And then next will be stitching in the signatures. So I think I covered everything, got you guys up to speed on where we're at. So the next thing will be adding a little bit more sewing, and then going on to, maybe I'll sew some trim on a few of these, like some lace or trim. I'll sew it on instead of gluing it. I don't know. I'll figure out. What do you guys think? What should we do? What should we sew in these? Tell me your thoughts. What kind of sewing should we do? Should we do some more on just the pages? Should we add some elements like sewing some trim onto our pages like this? Maybe some lace or ruffles? What do you guys want to see me do before we stitch these into the book? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Please share your thoughts. I want you guys' input on this beautiful journal we have coming together. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget, art with your heart. Bye.